Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, November 11th, and we are diving into God's Word today. Let's go. I don't know about you, but yesterday flew by yesterday. Yesterday flew by. Don't need to say yesterday 3 times. It flew by yesterday, and my, oh my, all of a sudden we're already into Tuesday. This week is shaping up to be flying by, but I am excited that we are here diving into the Word today. We are looking into Proverbs 15, which is absolutely awesome. Couple announcements, real quick. We have created a Facebook group, so make sure you go over and check that out. I will make sure that it's linked in the description in the comments below. I'll make sure that it's linked in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. It's something that after a little bit of feedback, people have been saying yes, they want it. It isn't just a place of where you come for God's Word. It's a spot to build a community of people who are like-minded that are all about helping each other improve, helping each other through life struggles, and then obviously anything that you see that's motivational or inspirational or something of that nature, go ahead and drop that in there. And then something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and then finally organized it and got it done. So make sure you go over and check that out. As always, if you need a Bible, something else we do, or you know somebody that needs a Bible, heck, let's even do that. If you know somebody that needs a Bible or you want to gift one to them, simply let us know and we can help you out with that. We're all about making sure people have a Bible, and how we do it a little differently. It just isn't just a Bible. We like to give away like a life application type Bible, meaning where you can apply what you're learning, because it gives it more in everyday life terms versus trying to read it with a hint of the these and the thys. Okay, for my King James fans out there, me personally, I like to read out of a New Living Translation, NLT. Is how it's abbreviated. I have a few different versions that I enjoy, and I like to cross-reference, but I'm a nerd like that. So, but if you are looking for something to build off of, we give away Bibles to women that are women-focused. We give men Bibles to men-focused, lessons. So that's kind of part of our mission, what we do. All right, we start every podcast, video, however you want to look at it, out with prayer. So, dear Heavenly Father, we just want to say thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to spread your message and spread your word. We just want to pray that you open up someone's heart today that will be able to receive your word and build on that relationship with them, God. At the end of the day, I know through my own struggles that any time that I've tried to stray away from you or take things into my own hands, it's always a struggle for me. And I pray that me doing these videos help people realize that they don't have to do it alone, regardless of whatever their earthly circumstances are, God, that at the end of the day, you are in their corner. You are there to build them up, and you are there to build a relationship with them. And God, I hope that us doing these videos and sharing your word in Proverbs helps build that relationship with you and helps get people going on the right path. Thank you for all that you've done for us. Thank you for all that you're going to do. In your name, we pray. Amen. All right. Starting off at the top, we are going to do Proverbs 15. So we're going to start with verse 1. How I do it is I read a verse. If there's a snippet at the bottom of my Bible, I literally dive into that, and then we kind of have like a little bit of a discussion and my little bit of interpretation and all that fun stuff. As you can tell, I've had a couple cups of coffee this morning, and we are ready to rock and roll. So starting from the top, ladies and gentlemen, Proverbs 15, verse 1. And we're going to dive into a little snippet at the bottom right after this. It's a good one. A gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. Let me read that one more time. A gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. At the bottom it says, have you ever tried to argue in a whisper? I don't know. Have you? It's equally hard to argue with someone who insists on answering gently. On the other hand, a rising voice or harsh words almost always trigger an anger response. To turn away wrath and seek peace, choose gentle words. This is me speaking from experience. As you guys know, anybody knows me personally, I am naturally a loud person. I am naturally, God has given me the gift of a voice that carries, and it just so happens that he put me with somebody that also has the gift of a carrying voice, and then we created another little human being that also has the gift of a carrying voice. So, and when I say carrying, also a carrying voice, but carrying, we're loud, we're boisterous, we'll call it. But anyways, I will tell you, sometimes when all of a sudden I've gotten in conversations with people, sometimes I come off can come off kind of aggressive, and it's something to be said. What I've known, I've had to make some adjustments because although my intent might be in the right place, how it's being received isn't always the most ideal, to where then it's not constructive. And so what I would encourage you, if you're in a disagreement with somebody or you're in a debate with somebody, be gentle, be calm. I always say this is going to be a mega theme for today in this chapter, is literally all about being gentle with our words. So prepare, we're going to dive into this a little bit more. But when you get harsh, or if you get aggressive, or if you get loud, you are going to run into where tempers will flare and people are going to fire back at you. And the next thing you know, we call it the old rope-a-dope, where all of a sudden, jab, jab, you start jabbing each other because you're both angry. So what I would encourage you, if you find yourself in a good old-fashioned debate or disagreement, make sure you stay calm. And I tell you what, sometimes that's where I mentioned yesterday, sometimes you have to breathe a little bit, take it in, and then recalibrate and give yourself time to use your brain, get oxygen to the brain, calm yourself down, and have a constructive conversation. So, gentle answers deflects anger, but harsh words make temper flare. Whew, man, we're off to a great start this morning. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge appealing, but the mouth of the fool belches out foolishness. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge appealing, but the mouth of the fool belches out foolishness. Man, oh man. Verse 3. The Lord is watching everywhere, keeping his eye on both the evil and the good. At the bottom, there's a snippet. At times, it seems that God lets evil run rampant in the world, and we wonder if he even notices it. But God sees everything clearly, both the evil actions and the evil intentions lying behind them. He is not an indifferent observer. He cares and is active in our world. Right now, his work may be unseen and unfelt, but don't give up. One day, he will wipe out evil and punish the evildoers, just as he will establish the good and reward to those who do his will. Yeah. I always say you always want to make sure, act as if someone's always watching. And I'll tell you what, even how you respond in high intense situations, whether you're having a disagreement, heck, I'll even go into if you're having a disagreement with your spouse. Pretend that, you pretend it's being recorded. Because I tell you, we're all guilty. We're all of a sudden we'll act a little bit different when others are around versus if we're by ourselves. And I'll tell you, this is something that I have really been challenging myself this year, I would say, to where controlling, I can get wound up. Anybody that knows me personally knows that I can get wound like a top. And I tell you, when I get going on a roll, and it might not be always from an anger perspective, but like get worked up, so to speak. Man, oh man, I get wound like a top, and it's like, sit back and watch the show. It's going to get interesting. And that's something that, whether it's you let people get you wound up or if you let a certain situation get you wound up, I've been really working on being in control of my emotions, being in control of me, controlling what I can control. I can't control how other people respond. I can't control how it'll be received, but I can control how I give it, if that makes any sense. So that's something I've been really working on in that. And at the end of the day, I guess on this verse particularly, God is watching, and I know at times it may seem hard for us to really, have faith in some of these times. I tell you, some of the stuff that's going on in politics or whatever, nothing is new under the sun, everybody. I've already said that once, and I'll say it again. There was corrupt government even back in Jesus' time. Literally, Pontius Pilate literally said, "Hey guys, I don't want to hang this man. I don't want to nail him to the cross." And then all of a sudden, leadership, to be not to cause controversy, but it's exactly Jewish leadership said, "No, he's broken the law. We want him hung." And Pontius goes, "Okay, that's not on my hands. That's on yours." Fair enough. And he let it be. The way he looked at it, he had bigger things to worry about. He even gave people an out to, actually, for those that don't know, he gave people an out to literally not kill Jesus. And they ended up going with a guy named Barabbas. They let him go free. He was kind of like a mercenary type, if you will. He was known thief, known murderer, and they let him go over Jesus. Whoo! Man, oh man. But my point is on all this, everything that's going on in the world today, guys, is nothing new. We always want to go, oh man, the world, it never used to be this way. It never used to be this way. No. It's always been this way. Has always been this way. The difference is we have media outlets from all different factors. We have more connections with social media and all those things today where we're getting more information than we've ever gotten before. And what I would encourage you sometimes where I have to check myself is make sure that you're not getting fatigued with all the information you're consuming. Check yourself and realize at the end of the day, I can't control what's going on, say in New York. I can't control what's going on in California. I can't control what's going on in Lansing. But what I can control is what happens in my home and in my kingdom. And I'll tell you, if all of a sudden I'm getting overwhelmed, I find myself we can go dive into our own vices, or what we can do is we can dive into God's word. And I will tell you guys, where I have found the most peace is the more that you dive in, the more that you understand that nothing is new under the sun. When you have these things that happen in our world today, you kind of go, man, oh man, yikes, but nothing's new. Good Lord, we could use you. We could use you. So that's where, with me doing these videos, guys, me personally, I'm sick of seeing all the bad news. I'm sick of seeing all the negativity. I'm sick of seeing, I want to sometimes go back with Facebook days of hey, how are you feeling today? Oh, studying in Gron is, back in my college days, some of that stuff comes up in the memories. But we've gotten into where we love spreading negativity, and negativity is what always usually grabs our attention more. And so I'm kind of would like to pursue on shining light. And so that's why creating the Facebook group, diving into the word of people. This might be the only Bible that you ever get, Bible talk, Bible study. And if you're tuning into me, I'm absolutely honored that you are coming to me. And what I want to tell you is I am no theologian by any means. I'm learning just as much as you guys are as I read this with all of you, and I'm just brave enough to have a conversation. And you know what? I'm sure I'll get criticized, and that's okay. I'm always open-minded to maybe I interpreted a verse wrong or something of that nature, but at the end of the day, nothing is new under the sun. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent there. Nothing is new under the sun. The Lord is watching everywhere, keeping his eye on both good and evil. Going on to verse 4, gentle words are a tree of life. Deceitful tongue crushes a spirit. Gentle words, when we approach things from a gentle perspective, I tell you, I just ran into a situation last night. For all you parents out there, man, oh man, I don't know about, I can only talk from a girl dad perspective, but I will tell you with myself, I'm trying to be the best version of a man that I possibly can be for my daughter and for my wife. But I want to teach my daughter on what a good man looks like. And I'll tell you, there's days I do really good, and there's days I fail miserably. And, so last night, all of a sudden, I've been noticing that our daughter has manners with everybody else except for the people in the house, as in her mom and dad. And all of a sudden, last night, I was sitting on the computer here in the office, actually, and all of a sudden, I heard her kind of barking some orders, and it's been an ongoing thing for been about a week or so. All of a sudden we've been kind of getting into this new habit, and it was like, all right, it's time to nip this in the bud a little bit. And all of a sudden, I can get loud, and I don't spank, I don't do any of that. I don't believe in a man should never touch his daughter personally, should never punish her physically, because what are you teaching? What are you teaching her that it's okay for the man that she respects? Like I said, you want to be the image, right? And I'm a big one on, I don't believe in spanking. Hey, I'm going to be stern with my voice, which God's given me that ability, as I've already kind of talked about that a little bit, but was diving in with her about how we speak to people and how we speak to talk to her mother. And then she was rebuttaling back with, not to get into it too much, but she was rebuttal back with, she didn't like how I was being stern. And I explained to her that, men, I want to tell you right now, with your children, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are the head of the house, and that at the end of the day, it's talked about biblically, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about it in Proverbs already, that it's our reputation. Now, how our children act is our reputation of the home. And at the end of the day, if your kid is acting a fool, that's a reflection on you. And so we actually went into talking about that a little bit. And then as she was receiving it, it was kind of like, in leadership, they talk about criticism, positive, or positive, criticism, positive, right? Like kind of a sandwich. And Jenna actually gave me kudos this morning, which was a pretty awesome win as a husband, to where all of a sudden she's like, you could not have handled that situation any more perfect. And I will tell you guys, I've not always handled it that way. But I'm a firm believer, with me diving in and honestly hitting record and sitting here talking with you guys, it's been helping me dive in and then holding myself more accountable to practicing what I preach, not only in my own home, but then out in the world as well. And just spreading love. And I tell you what, I reassured she did not. She tried all the diversion tactics of trying to get away from having this hard conversation, but literally I reeled her in, and then over time, she was keeping her distance from me, and then over time she started coming in. And I think, men, when it's important, especially with little girls, that when you are you have to be very gentle with how we criticize and or how we coach up, and raise these little people into being, responsible and good human beings in this world. And I tell you what, by the time it was all said and done, she was giving me a hug. I was making sure that she understood where we were going. And then, guys, the craziest thing happened. It was literally all of a sudden the words synced in, and she literally, even this morning, circled back around to it. And I'll tell you what, it was absolutely amazing. So what I would encourage you, if all of a sudden you're having trouble in your home, say with any child, I can only speak from a perspective of a 7-year-old, because that's where I'm at in life right now. But what I will tell you is, even just being gentle with any disagreement or teaching moment, or any with any criticism, being gentle. Like, if you want people to receive what you have to say, but you come at them like a sidewinder, banshee, crazy person, guess what? You're not going to receive that. But if they come at you going, hey, staying gentle and being like, hey, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, let's try to be gentle with each other, and let's try to come up with a solution. Gentle words are the tree of life. A deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. Verse 5, only a fool despises a parent's discipline. Whoever learns from correction is wise. We've been touching on that a lot too, about with kiddos and all that stuff. Like, I'll tell you guys, it's our job to lead our house. And I'm telling you, if you're not leading, I'll tell you, I've not always led from a godly perspective, guys. I'll be honest with you. I never, not always. And I'll tell you, that's something where I've changed the most. And a lot of you have seen a transformation over the last couple years. And this is the reason why. And doesn't mean that life is always going to be easier. But what I will tell you, it makes it to where it's more understanding, if that makes any sense. Verse 6, there is a treasure, kind of ironic. There is a treasure in the house of the godly, but the earnings of the wicked bring trouble. Leading a house the godly way, good things will happen. If you do it the wicked way, trouble will happen. Guaranteed, or your money back. Verse 7, the lips of the wise give good advice. The heart of a fool has none to give. The Lord detests, verse 8, the Lord detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but he delights in prayers of the upright. Whoo, doggy. The Lord detests the way of the wicked, but he loves those who pursue godliness. What this means, and I have it highlighted, I actually highlighted the second half. He loves those who pursue. What that means is he loves those who pursue him. He loves those that want a relationship with him. And when all of a sudden, when you pursue that, you will find that good things will happen. And actually, it follows up right into the next verse. Whoever abandons the right path will be severely disciplined. Whoever hates correction will die. What this means is those who go off course will get humbled. I have that note here. As you guys know, I talk about humble pie a lot. I often joke, and I joke with it because it's easier to receive when it's a little more lighthearted. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be prideful, if you're going to be, going to go off on your own path and not going to lead with God's intention, I will promise you, he's going to make you up the most beautiful dish of humble pie you've ever had in your entire life, and he's going to make you eat the whole thing. He's going to make, guys, even since I've been recording these sessions, I've been getting served humble pie almost on the daily. I've had struggles in my life that I've been going through, and then all of a sudden, I come in here and I hit record with you guys and we start diving in, and all of a sudden I'm getting hit with humble pie, because all of a sudden it's like a full circle going, oh yeah, I talked about that this morning. But wait a minute, God, that isn't what I meant. That isn't what I had it. At the end of the day, you are getting exactly what he wants you to have, because there is a lesson in it, and it is up to you to receive that message. It's up to you to have that open mind to know what's going on, to where you receive the lesson he's trying to teach you. If you're going through a hard season, there is a reason. I cannot hit on that enough. And they are very much defining moments, guys, that I will tell you right now, there is a lesson to be learned there. And I pray to God that you receive it and see it. Because if you don't receive it, he's going to let you keep hiking around that mountain again and again and again and again. If you keep having the same problems over and over again, whether it's with work, whether it's with a relationship with a family member, if it's in your own relationship, you're going to keep hiking around the mountain over and over and over and over and over again. He's going to keep letting you go. Because at the end of the day, there's something that we call free will, which we'll get into that another time. But I'm here to tell you, there's a lesson in every hard season. So what I want to encourage you, if you're going through a hard season right now, dive in. Dive in, because I promise you, you will find when you dive into his word, there will be answers. There might be a verse here that I'm reading to you that speaks differently to me than it will to you. There's something there. There is a lesson, and I encourage you to dive in. Woo! That was a download. Holy moly. Sorry about that. Or maybe that's exactly what you need to hear. I don't know. That's very out of character for me. But I'm just encouraging you to dive in. Stop being a victim to the hard season. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Feeling sorry for yourself does you no freaking good. People care, but at the end of the day, we get so caught up in our own life that, yeah, they care, but if all of a sudden they offer advice to you and then you don't receive it, what makes them want to give you advice again and again when they keep seeing you make the same mistake over and over again? My Lanta. Receive the hard season. Look for the lesson. When you look for the lesson, correct, move forward. Don't live there. Can I get an amen? Holy moly. Even death and destruction hold no secrets hold no secrets from the Lord. How much more does he know the human heart? He knows your heart. That's what he focuses in on. Even when all of a sudden, I tell you what, if you're giving somebody criticism, we've been only talking about receiving criticism. Let me talk about if you're giving criticism. Make sure that your heart's in the right spot. Make sure that your heart is in the right spot. Make sure your ego isn't in the way, or your pride is in the way of your heart. God knows where your heart's at. God knows. He's watching. And I'll tell you what, it's no different than growing up. We want to make our father proud. We want to make our parents proud. I don't know about you, but something I've been focusing on is I want to make God. I want to all of a sudden, when my time here on earth comes to an end, I want to go up to him and literally, man, join the afterlife and go, hey, how did I do? I realize I've fallen short, but I hope I live up to the standards that you laid out. Man, sorry, I didn't mean to go deep there. But he knows where our heart's at. Mockers hate to be corrected, so they stay away from the wise. I have here a little notation. Mockers are prideful. So, prideful people, mockers, I call it prideful people, hate to be corrected. Don't let your pride and ego get in the way. Make sure you check yourself. Make sure you stay humble. If you're not doing this on the daily, I would encourage you to check yourself. Make sure that you're staying humble. Make sure you're not being prideful. Verse 13, a glad heart makes a happy face. A broken heart crushes the spirit. Verse 14, a wise person is hungry for knowledge, while the fools feed on trash. I would hope that this verse speaks to you right now. You're obviously, if you've made it this far, and we are 26 minutes into this, holy moly, and we are halfway through this chapter. If you're reading this, if you're hearing this with me, a wise person is hungry for knowledge, while the fool feeds on trash. You are in pursuit of wisdom right now as you're sitting here listening to this today. And hopefully, it's speaking to you in a way that you can resonate with. So good for you. You're being a wise person, hungry for knowledge, and you're diving in. And you know what? I follow other channels as well to get little tidbits and information and diving in. Just don't take my advice. Dive in. Type in Proverbs 15 into YouTube and look at all the content that shows up. It's absolutely incredible. I did it today while preparing for this podcast, or for this message. A wise person's hungry for knowledge, while the fool feeds on trash. You should always be hungry to improve. Growth. Accountability. If you don't want to be held accountable, that's weak thinking. You will not grow. You will not be successful. If you're dormant and happy with where you're at, not wanting to grow, I feel sorry for you. I really do. Wanting to grow is a natural thing. It's a wise thing to do. Because I am a firm believer in if you're not growing, you're dying. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. For the despondent, every day brings trouble. For the happy heart, life is a continual feast. If you focus on the positive, if you focus on the happy, if you focus on what you are grateful on, you will have a continual feast. That is what he's saying there. If you find yourself in a tough spot, I'd encourage you to write down 5 things that you're grateful for. It can be something as simple as, I'm grateful for the roof over my house. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for... It can be simple. I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the great mountain bike race I had on Saturday. I'm grateful I didn't crash. I'm grateful I didn't cramp up. I'm grateful I didn't die. My max heart rate hit 192 beats. Holy moly. Woo! Look at the positive. Stop focusing on the negative. And I'll tell you guys, I don't know about you, but I don't even really watch the news anymore. Because it seems all it is bad. Focusing on the bad of the world. And I'm here to tell you, if you focus on the positive, it's kind of like when all of a sudden you go look up, there's a particular color. I'm going to relate this to the car world. And when all of a sudden there's a particular truck, and man, you know what? I've never seen that blue truck before. That's a sharp-looking Silverado. All of a sudden you become aware that that's even a thing. Then all of a sudden you start seeing that color on other cars. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Have you ever been in that situation where all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I've never seen a Cybertruck before, and the next thing you know, you start seeing them around all over the place. Or, oh man, I don't really see too many. I point at my dog over here. She's sitting here listening to me ramble on. Never really seen a Fox Red Lab. There's not too many of them. The next thing you know, you start running across Fox Red Labs. Interesting. Whatever you focus on will become your reality. If you're focusing on the negative, if you're consuming negative content, if you're consuming just junk, garbage, trash, that's all you'll be, is trash. And I'm sorry, that might be hard for some people to hear. But at the end of the day, You focus on positivity, gratefulness, being happy, good things will happen. If you're struggling with that, I would shut off all negative things in your life, whether that's a particular person that you've been hanging around. It could even be, could be a parent, could be a spouse, could be a friend, could be enter person here. Shut them out. And immediately, where I started personally, I started consuming motivational content on Facebook or on YouTube. That's what I did. And start realizing that, and what you'll find is you just start building off of that. Man, oh man, good things happen. Good things happen. And there will be times where you get challenged. You'll get challenged, there's no doubt. But I will tell you, if you are only consuming negative stuff, if all you are is consuming the news, and you're full of anxiety, and you're full of doubt, and you're full of shame, it's no wonder. That's all you're consuming. Shut that crap off. Dive into something motivational. Me, I like to choose the good book. Sometimes, what I'm reading right now, A Caring Life, man, oh man, it's literally that simple. Block out the noise, focus on the good, good things will happen. Stop feeding on trash. There's a snippet here at the bottom. Talks about what we feed our mind. We're going to dive in here. What we feed our minds is just as important as what we feed our bodies. The kind of books we read, the people we talk with, the music we listen to, the films we watch, all parts of our mental diet. Be discerning, because what you feed your mind influences your total health and well-being. Thus, a strong desire to discover knowledge is a mark of wisdom. It goes on to 15, where it talked about the despondent of everyday troubles. For happy hearts, life is a continual feast. Our attitudes color our whole personality. We cannot always choose what happens to us, but we can choose our attitude towards each situation. The secret to a happy heart is filling our mind with thoughts that are true, pure, and lovely, with the thought that dwell on the good things in life. This was Paul's secret as he was faced with imprisonment. For those that don't know, Apostle Paul literally wrote a lot of the books, a lot of the New Testament in prison. And it can be ours as we face struggles in our daily life. Looking at your attitudes and then examining what you allow to enter your mind and what you choose to dwell on, you may need to make some changes. I just went into a whole tangent on that. Garbage in, garbage out. Positive in, positive out. Get your crap together. Stop focusing on garbage. Stop feeding on trash. I'd encourage you, heck, even turn on, the music today. Oh my goodness, as a guy, I DJ on the side, and all of a sudden you start leaning into the songs that we let our kids listen to. I think of the songs that we used to listen to as kids. The programming that is happening there, ladies and gentlemen, once you start diving into this stuff and you start waking up to how we're being manipulated and controlled, woo! Sorry not to blow out your eardrums, but once you see it, it can't be unseen. And then all of a sudden you start looking like a crazy person. But I'm telling you, what you consume, everything as simple as music, what we read, what we watch, will become your reality. Have you ever noticed on Facebook when you get into the algorithms, if all of a sudden, all of a sudden you had a tough conversation and your phone was listening, and all of a sudden it starts hitting you with, oh, is your spouse, I'm just going to be real with you here, a conversation that came down recently, all of a sudden your phone and you start getting hit with relationship stuff. Marriage is tough. I'll be the first one to tell you that. On social media, you guys can look, it looks like you got it all figured out, but man, oh man, it's been a struggle, and that's okay. There's a lesson there. Guys, when I'm talking this stuff with you, I'm not saying that I'm any indifferent. Okay, so you got it all figured out. It's all perfect. Oh, no. No, I do not. No, I do not. But what I will tell you is this: it seems to me that more times than not, the system is designed to feed you whatever you resonate with in that moment. And I tell you, you guys all know what I'm talking about. You guys have all been in those situations where all of a sudden you talk about something with a friend and you have this little device sitting in your pocket and it hears it. And then next thing you know, you're getting ads for things that might not be speaking life. You get video content of things that maybe will fuel your perspective on something. And what I would encourage you is to dive in to the opposite of some of that stuff, just to make sure, because the algorithm, the whole point of social media, like I said, there's 10% of you that are ever going to see this video. 1% of you are only ever going to watch the whole thing. But what I will tell you is, if you're not seeing content that is positive, that's because you are clicking on content that is negative. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. If your newsfeed isn't positive, that's on you. 100%. That's on you. It's better to have, verse 16, better to have a little with the fear of the Lord than have the great treasure in inner turmoil. Than to have great treasure in inner turmoil. Basically what that means, it's better to have little and have a relationship with God than it is to have great treasure and struggle. Money doesn't buy you happiness, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be the first to tell you that. I've had careers where I've made great money, and I've had careers where I make little money. And I will promise you, oddly enough, I had the same problems when I had no money, and I've had the same problems when I've had a lot of money. Money doesn't solve it. Does it allow you to go do things? 100%. But at the end of the day, if you think diving into something where you get a job where you're making more money and your job will be easier, take my advice as a guy that has worked at many different positions, as a lot of you know. I will tell you right now, happiness is an inside job. If you think that job is going to bring you more happiness because it pays you more, you will quickly be humbled. I said it once last week, and I'll say it here again. Biggie Smalls said, more money, more problems. There is so much truth in that. So much truth in that. I want to touch on this. In the Bible, it often references fear of the Lord. Fear of the Lord. I looked this up today, by the way. So for those that don't know, the Bible was converted into the English language it was Hebrew, and honestly, and it could have been translated. It could have been. I think it's been translated a couple times, but it was originally wrote in Hebrew because that's what they talked. So what I want to touch on real quick with you, I've been struggling personally with, I should say, something that has been challenging for me. Is we talk about God being a loving God, but then we're supposed to fear Him, and so I dove in a little bit today. I went down a rabbit hole. That's why we're getting a little later start on this podcast today. But I dove in a little bit about fear of the Lord. In Hebrew, that word is yara. And I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's spelled Yirah. Yirah means to be in awe. To awe, reverence, respect. Not so much a fear of terror, but more so in being the awe of God in all that He is. To have deep respect. That's what reverence means. Reverence is deep respect for God in all that He has done in all of His creation. Profound respect. So just know from what I've understood, and hey, if you got a different opinion on this, please share it with me. This is the kind of stuff that I love diving into. And for you that are diving into this with me today and you don't know much about it, this is going in a little deeper, but I just wanted to touch on, when you read fear of the Lord, fear the Lord, fear the Lord, that doesn't mean basically God with a switch or with a leather belt and you're getting swatted and disciplined. It's more being like, wow, God, you're absolutely beautiful. Everything you've created is absolutely amazing. I honor your wisdom so much because I have such a deep respect for you. That's what this means. Not one of terror, but one of respect. And we've already kind of touched on that a little bit in previous videos, but I wanted to touch on that a little bit more today. So, where that all just came from was literally about the verse 16, better to have little with fear of the Lord than to have great treasure of inner turmoil. Okay, diving in here, verse 16, that was verse 16. Now we're diving into 17. Just goes into more. A bowl of vegetables with someone you love is better than a steak with someone you hate. A hot-tempered person, and I got this, circled, highlighted, X'd. A hot-tempered person starts fights. A cool-tempered person stops them. Ladies and gentlemen, if you all of a sudden get approached by somebody, or if all of a sudden you are not in the right mindset and you're getting a phone call, you don't have to pick up that phone. You don't have to respond to that text. You don't have to talk to that person. If you are not in the right mindset, you don't need to have that conversation. A hot-tempered person starts fights. A cool-tempered person stops them. First time I heard this was actually in college. The 3 C's. Cool, calm, collected. Staying cool, calm, collected in any intense conversation or any high intense moment is some of the best advice. And when at the time when I heard it, I was probably 19 years old, 18 years old. Cool, calm, collected. Stay cool, calm, collected. And I will tell you guys that it's hard for me to do, especially when we're in a high intense moment. But hot temper burns things down. Cool things calms things down. There's a reason why a fire is hot and water puts it out. Are you being the fire or are you being the water? Something you should ask yourself. A lazy person's way, so that was verse 18, now we're on to 19. A lazy person's way is blocking with barriers, but the path of the upright is an open highway. A lazy person's way is blocked with barriers, but the path of the upright is an open highway. There's a snippet here, of course. The path of the upright doesn't always seem easy, but look at the alternatives. Hatred, dissension, laziness cause problems that the upright person does not have to face. By comparison, his or her life is smooth, level road because of the built on a solid foundation of love for God. That's the foundation. Going back to the fear of the Lord, being in awe of Him, having a relationship with Him, that is where your foundation should be. And I truly feel as humans, we have gotten away from that. We've gotten away from having a strong foundation, and we wonder why our houses can't stay together. We wonder why our families can't stay together. A solid foundation. Instead of always trying to prove somebody wrong, we should just, especially on social, all you people arguing with each other, what's right, what's wrong, blue, red, turquoise, all your rainbow stuff. My mind has never been changed off of something I've watched on Facebook. Never. It might have, I should say, it's given me perspectives on things. But some of you guys come at it. There's certain things that people say, that you guys say to people on social media that you would never say to their face. And I tell you what, are you speaking life or are you speaking death? Plain and simple. Are you being godly? Whoever your God is, me, Jesus. But regardless, at the end of the day, speak life. We live in such a society where everybody wants to speak down. It's exhausting. Sensible children bring joy to their father. Foolish children despise their mother. Foolishness brings joy to those with no sense. A sensible person stays on the right path. This here, what I encourage on this verse 21, foolishness brings joy to those with no sense. A sensible person stays on the right path. How I interpret this, who are you hanging around? If people are encouraging you to do stupid stuff, you need to check your friends group. Check who you surround yourself with. Because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, those people, they're only going to bring you down. They're going to stunt your growth. Lift them up if you can. But if all of a sudden they want to be foolish and not follow, fair enough. Love you, but I'm going this way. You're more than welcome to join me. But the path that I'm on right now, I'm not going to stay on. Plans go wrong with lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. Basically, what I interpret here, and there is a snippet at the bottom, but I'm going to give you my own insight on this. Plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. What I will encourage you is make sure that the advisors that you're seeking advice from, their heart is in the right place. If you're seeking work advice from somebody, make sure it's somebody that it's the advice that you're going to want to receive. Make sure their heart's in the right place. I'm not going to take work ethic advice from somebody who literally is a not present parent, not a present father, because that's something that's very important to me. There's certain people out there that are very, 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 very successful people, but are very, very broken when it comes to relationships. And there's some people that are very, very strong in relationships, but their work ethic is absolutely terrible. So what I guess my point is make sure whoever you are seeking advice from, your advisors, make sure that their heart's in the right place. And then I would encourage you to have a network, a community of people. And that's kind of the reason why we're creating the Facebook group that we did. The Iron Tribe, by the way, is the name of that group. I realized I didn't even go into that. We created a Facebook group, the Iron Tribe. The Iron Tribe, that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here. Have a plan to go against the daily life. Advisors, that's where I want you to come. Let's put a whole group of advisors together and let's build each other up. The Iron Tribe. Let's go. It says here at the bottom, people with tunnel vision, those who are locked into one way of thinking, are likely to miss the right road because they have closed their minds to a new option. We need to help of those who can enlarge our vision and broaden our perspective. Seek out the advice of those who know you and have a wealth of experience. Build a network of advisors. Then open a new idea and would be willing to weigh their suggestions carefully. Your plans will be stronger and more likely to succeed. Once again, who you surround yourself with, they often say who you surround yourself. Show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you what your life is. There's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot of truth in that. Guys, if you're going to surround yourself with guys that are, fraternizing with other women when they're married and all that stuff, chances are you're going to be in the same boat. Women, if you're going to surround yourself with girls that are always gossiping and hating on other people, chances are you're in the same boat. And if you don't like what I have to say about that, look in the mirror, because there's a reason why you're offended. If you're offended by what I have to say, it's usually because it's the truth, and the truth hurts. So ask yourself, have some discernment, and have a conversation with yourself, and with God on where your heart lies. Because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, who you surround yourself with is such a focal point to what your life will look like. So I'd encourage you to surround yourself with positive people, not negative people. Wise advisors, not gossipers and evildoers. And they might not even be meaning to be evil. They may be doing things, and I'll tell you, the devil has a weird way of making it look normal, making it look like the societal norms. But I'm here to tell you, folks, that's not the way, the truth, and the light. That leads to a very, 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 very dark road. Everyone enjoys a fitting reply. It is wonderful to say the right thing at the right time. Last night, I'll say, when all of a sudden I was having a rough moment with Jocelyn, I kind of already briefly touched on it. But all of a sudden, she was having a meltdown. My patience was gone. I'll be honest, my patience was out the window. I was staying calm, but I wasn't going to let her get to me. At the end of the day, when you are parenting your children, and if you lose control of your emotions, and I'm here to tell you I have, you're acting like a fool. You're acting like a fool if you are losing your temper with your children. All you are is teaching your kids, when you lose your cool, what is an okay response when all of a sudden they're having a rough moment. And what I will tell you is, last night all of a sudden I noticed I was starting to lose control. To be honest, all of a sudden I took a deep breath, and she, doing what kids do, started leaning into mom a little bit. And thank God, my spouse was on my side for this. Thank God she was on my side. Because it easily could have been manipulated by a little 50-pound little girl. But sure enough, my wife had my back. Thank God. And all of a sudden, when there was this little episode where she was leaning into mom, looking to get the affirmation to mom, the reason, basically seeking affirmation of she didn't want to have this conversation anymore. And Jenna had my back and was literally like, hey, no, you need to hear what Dad has to say. I literally sat there and I prayed. I was saying, literally, God, give me the strength to have this conversation. Please, God, soften my heart. Because obviously I could feel anger coming. I could feel it. And so instead of trying to control it myself, I gave it to God. And I'll tell you what, guys, it was the strangest thing. All of a sudden, I calmed right back down. It was the strangest thing. I'm sitting here preaching it to you. My point is I practiced what I preached. And sure enough, I calmed down. It was absolutely awesome. It was absolutely amazing. Path of life. So this is verse 24. I just wanted to touch on that. Literally, at the end of the day, when it comes to parenting our kids, you need to make sure that if all of a sudden your patience is completely out the window, you need to lean into God to give you the right words to say and to make sure that you are speaking life into them, and then you are the teacher. Kids watch what we do. They watch how we respond. They watch what we eat. Once again, I'm speaking to myself here. I watch all the time of what all of a sudden I was noticing, and here's a vulnerability point. Whether my intention was in the right place or not, there would be times where all of a sudden I would ask Jenna to do something, and then maybe I wasn't using my quote-unquote manners. I wasn't saying please. Hey, will you please grab me that? It was like, hey, will you grab me that real quick? So then all of a sudden, when I'm sitting there watching my daughter do the same exact thing, I could look at this like, no, Jocelyn, you need to do as I do, or you need to do as I say, not as I do. But at the end of the day, the kids are watching us. Kids are watching how we treat people. They're watching how we treat they're watching how we treat Jocelyn's watching me how I treat her mom. And am I teaching her the right way or am I treating her the wrong way? I'm being vulnerable here right now. And I had to have a real talk with myself and a look in the mirror. Where my intentions might have been in the right spot, but the words that I was speaking were not soft. They weren't gentle, as what we're talking about in Proverbs today. So I encourage you, when all of a sudden you find yourself in that teaching moment with your child, one, seek God's wisdom when you're having that conversation. Don't be afraid to take a time out if all of a sudden you're starting to lose your cool, because I promise you, if all of a sudden you come at it with aggression, you're going to be met with, they're going to mirror whatever you do. And guys, that is what I will tell you last night when all of a sudden I got down on her level. And then even to the point where, guys, I went and sat down on the ground. What does it look like? Do you ever think about this. When you're disciplining a child and you're standing over them, put yourself in that situation. Put yourself in a situation where if you have a boss at work and they're standing over you and you're sitting in the chair, how does that make you feel? I don't know about you, but it's not a fun feeling. So get down on their level and have a conversation with them. Not a yelling spree, a conversation. And I think the results that you'll find will be very similar to the results I had last night. And of course, now me sharing this message, I guarantee you I'm going to get hit with it again. And God willing, I'm going to approach it the exact same way that I did last night. Verse 24, the path of life leads upward for the wise. They leave the grave behind. The Lord tears down the house of the proud, but he protects the property of the widows. I have the Lord tears down the house of the proud. Just goes back to what I've been talking about, you guys. At the end of the day, pride leads to being humbled. The Lord detests evil plans, but he delights in pure words. Greed brings grief to the whole family, but those who hate bribes will live. The heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking, and the mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words. The heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking, the mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words. There's a snippet here at the bottom. The godly weigh their answers. The wicked don't think before speaking because they don't care about the effects of their words. It is important to have something to say, but it is equally as important to think about it first. Do you carefully plan your words, or do you pour out your thoughts without concerning their impact? Basically, before all of a sudden you start speaking, and this goes back to me praying before having this conversation with my daughter last night, I prayed about it. I actually prayed right in the middle of it, as I just got done telling you that story. Are you just shooting from the hip? Are you shooting with precision? Are you just taking the machine gun method and letting it spray? I'm a gun guy. I like my guns. Are you shooting from a semi-automatic, fully auto clip and just emptying out the rounds and hoping that you hit something? Or are you being a sniper? Are you shooting with precision? Graceful, care, kindness. Because as we've already talked about in the Bible, and we've already talked about in chapter 15 today, gentle or sharp? Something you need to ask yourself. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayers of the righteous. A cheerful look brings joy to the heart. Good news makes good news makes for good health. Basically, what I will tell you guys, what you will find if you find yourself starting to focus more on the positive, you notice that you'll live a healthier life. Not only from a mental standpoint, but also from a physical standpoint. What I will tell you, I firmly believe we are all giant balls of energy. And I will tell you right now, and Jocelyn and I have had this conversation as well, when all of a sudden you're more positive, more people will want to be around you. If you're lonely, I would look at what your attitude is. I would challenge you to look in the mirror and look at what your outlook on life is. If all you're ever doing is focusing on the negative is the only energy you're ever going to put off. And I will tell you, if you're in a bad mindset, I would encourage you to flip the flow, whatever that looks like. Getting outside, getting a workout in, diving into God's word, whatever that looks like. Flip the flow. Because at the end of the day, if all you ever are is worry, that worry is negative. Fear is negative. Guilt is negative. Shame is negative. All normal emotions, I want to add. They're all very, very normal emotions in this thing we call the human experience. But I want to encourage you to where if all of a sudden you find yourself where you're sick all the time, focus on what you're consuming. Because all that stuff, good or bad, has energy. And what I will tell you, it's been scientifically proven that if you are focusing on negativity, that negative energy will make you sick. If you're focusing on positive, it will make you better. It will heal you. I promise you. It's crazy. There's studies upon studies upon studies upon studies, you guys, of when you focus on positivity, you literally improve your physical and mental health. Not only your mental, but your physical. If you verse 31, if you listen to constructive criticism, you will be at home among the wise. If you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you will grow in understanding. Fear of the Lord teaches wisdom. Humility precedes honor. Going back to what we talked about earlier about when it says fear the Lord, be in awe of him, reverence of him, respect of him. Not fear from a terror standpoint. Fear meaning having respect for him, being in awe of his creation. And I'll tell you, if you like diving in a little bit more into the Hebrew meaning of things, please let me know. I'll be honest with you guys, that is very, very, I'm very, very elementary in the Hebrew stance, but I will tell you, I enjoy diving in because I find sometimes that when we listen to the translations, is this really what they said? And really what it is, the English language is very complicated just as much as the Hebrew language is very complicated. And so I have fun diving into what words actually mean. And that's a little tidbit about me if you didn't know that. So, well, guys, we are an hour into this. If you hung in this long, if you listened to me, I'm assuming that you're listening to me at this point, I want to say thank you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. The big takeaways for today: be gentle with your words. Don't be sharp. Seek advisement from people with the right heart. And the last thing, when it says fear the Lord, understand it's not talking about fear from a scared standpoint or a terror standpoint. It is referencing it from a respect standpoint and an awe standpoint. Thank you everybody for watching today. If you like the video, make sure you like it. If you like more of this content, make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you go over to the Facebook group Iron Tribe Baby. That is new today. Just created it. I hope you enjoy it. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have yourself a marvelous day, baby. Woo! Let's go.